The silent galaxy. For thousands of years, the galaxy was not silent because nothing lived in it. It was silent because power was balanced. Great alien empires ruled their corners of the stars. Some were old, older than memory. Some were young, but strong. They fought wars, signed peace, made treaties, and sometimes betrayed each other. But through it all, there was a rhythm, a predictable cycle. Everyone knew who was strong and who was weak. Everyone knew the rules. Then, something new appeared. Something small at first, like a whisper. It was called humanity. Aliens had seen new species before. They always started the same way. First, they learned fire, then tools, then machines. They spread to their moons, then to their nearby planets. Most were noticed early and either guided, enslaved, or destroyed. But somehow, humanity grew without being noticed. By the time the great empires turned their eyes toward Earth, it was too late. Humans had already touched the stars. The galaxy reacted with amusement first. Reports came in of a species of flesh and bone, fragile bodies, short lives, weak biology. Yet somehow they built engines powerful enough to escape their small blue world. The empires laughed. A species like this would never last long. They would burn out or be conquered like so many others before them. But then the galaxy noticed something strange. Humanity did not spread slowly. They moved fast, too fast. In only a few centuries, they had ships across dozens of star systems. They did not stop when faced with hostile environments. Where other species hesitated, humans adapted. Toxic air, they built filters. Heavy gravity, they built stronger machines. Frozen worlds, they made heat in cities beneath the ice. The galaxy began to whisper. What drove them? Why did they expand so fast? The answer was simple, though alien. Minds could not understand it. Humans were restless. They were explorers, survivors, fighters. Their history was war and struggle, but also invention and boldness. No species had burned so bright in so short a time. Still, the galaxy stayed calm. Yes, humans were unusual, but they were still small compared to ancient empires. The balance of power would not be broken. That was what they thought. But then came the silence. It began with signals. Faint, strange bursts of energy from deep human territory. At first, the empires ignored them. They assumed it was just another human experiment. Humans always tested new weapons and machines. But then the signals grew louder, stronger, stranger. Scouts were sent. Drones vanished. A few who returned spoke of something massive being built in the void. A shape too big to be a station, too armed to be a colony. The reports were dismissed at first. How could a young race like humanity build something on such a scale? Then came the turning point. Across the galaxy, listening posts began to detect vibrations through space, not natural, not random, rhythmic, like the heartbeat of a giant. Some said it was an engine. Some said it was a weapon. Whatever it was growing stronger. The galaxy grew quiet. Very quiet. Alien councils gathered in secret. They argued. Some said humanity should be stopped now before the new creation was finished. Others warned that war against humanity would be costly. Every empire had already tested human strength in small battles and learned that humans fought with a fury unmatched. They were clever. They were stubborn. They did not surrender easily, and so the galaxy waited, watched, wondered. In the middle of it all, on the edge of human space, the thing continued to grow. It was hidden in dark space, far from suns, where light was weak. Only a few dared to approach and fewer returned. Those who did spoke in whispers. It is not a station. It is not a colony. It is something else. When asked to explain, their voices shook. It is a ship the size of a continent, a ship with cannons larger than cities, a ship with armor thicker than mountains, a ship that should not exist. The galaxy trembled at the thought. No single ship could change the balance of power, not in theory, not in history. But something about this ship, this human creation, felt different. It was not only a machine, it was a message, a warning. For the first time in many ages, fear spread among the elder empires. They remembered how they had laughed at humanity once, calling them weak, fragile, and unimportant. Now they were not laughing. Now they were afraid. The galaxy was silent again, but not the silence of peace. It was the silence before a storm. And deep in the void, hidden among the shadows, the heartbeat of a giant ship echoed louder and louder. A dreadnought. A human dreadnought. Its name was simple, brutal, honest, impact imminent. And when it finished waking, the galaxy would never be the same. The dreadnought awakens. The void of space was dark, endless, and silent. But in that silence, something stirred. A shadow larger than a moon, hidden among drifting rocks and frozen dust. For years it had been under construction in secret. Billions of tons of steel, alloys, and human ambition welded together. At last the moment had come. The dreadnought opened its eyes. It was not alive, yet in the darkness it felt alive. Its systems hummed like a heartbeat. Reactors ignited with a deep vibration that shook asteroids apart. Lights flickered across. Its vast hull, like stars being born. The name carved across its armored side glowed, Impact Imminent. The humans who built it called it a ship. But to the galaxy it was something else. To some it was a weapon. To others, it was a symbol. To many, it was a nightmare. The crew inside the dreadnought, thousands of humans worked. Soldiers, engineers, pilots, officers. Some were veterans of countless battles. Others were young recruits seeing deep space for the first time. But all of them felt the same thing: pride. They walked the endless corridors, past giant cannons that stretched longer than skyscrapers. They checked control rooms where glowing screens displayed the ship's power. They passed walls lined with missiles, hangars filled with fighter craft, and machine halls where engines roared like monsters in cages. The ship was not only huge, it was layered with human stubbornness. Redundant systems, hidden weapons, armor so thick that even alien super lasers might not cut through. It was built not just to fight, but to survive, the crew whispered among themselves. Some called it the Guardian of Earth. Others called it the Fist of Humanity. All of them knew one thing: the galaxy would never see them as explorers again. After this day, they would be seen as conquerors, or defenders strong enough that no empire could dare attack. The awakening. When the final system came online, a deep vibration rolled through the hull. Consoles lit up, one by one. From the bridge, Captain Elias Vey stood and watched as screens confirmed the ship's readiness. His voice carried calm authority. All systems report green. The dreadnought is awake. No cheer followed. The crew did not clap or celebrate. They only stood, in silence, as if standing at the edge of something far greater than themselves. They knew the galaxy was listening, because the galaxy was always listening. The watchers across hundreds of light years, alien sensors picked up the awakening. Ancient machines hidden in forgotten stations relayed the news. Empires who had once laughed at humans now stared at their displays in disbelief. Reports poured in. Energy levels beyond any known vessel. Size comparable to a minor moon. Armament density, off the charts. Alien councils sat in fear. One leader whispered what many were already thinking. This is not a ship. This is a declaration. Some argued humanity had gone too far. No species should be allowed to wield such power. If they did not act now, perhaps they would never be able to. Others countered with trembling voices. You have seen what humans do when cornered. They fight like fire. They would rather burn the galaxy than bow. No one wanted to test it. Not yet. The first voice. Then, the dreadnought spoke. Its first broadcast was simple. A human voice, steady, cold, and clear, carried across subspace. It was translated into 100 alien tongues instantly. This is the human ship Impact Imminent. We come not as prey. We come not as slaves. We come as equals. Stand with us or stand aside. The words spread across the galaxy like fire. Empires listened in silence. Merchants, mercenaries, soldiers, and spies all heard the voice of humanity's new strength. Some laughed nervously, some cursed, many feared. But all understood. The age of ignoring humans was over. The test. The Dreadnought did not wait long to be challenged. On the outer rim, an alien patrol fleet eager to prove humans weak moved to intercept. They launched warnings. Turn back, power down, submit for inspection. The Dreadnought did not respond. The aliens fired first, bright streaks of energy, cutting across the black. Explosions lit the void, but when the light cleared, Impact Imminent still moved forward, unshaken. Its armor bore the scars, but the ship remained silent, patient. Then Captain Vey gave the order, return fire. One cannon turned. It charged for a breathless second, then unleashed a beam brighter than a star. It did not simply destroy the alien flagship, it erased it. Nothing was left but dust and silence. The alien patrol broke instantly. Some fled, some surrendered, none dared continue. The Dreadnought passed through them without another shot. The awakening echoes news of the encounter spread like thunder. A single shot had undone an entire alien fleet. Rumors grew wild. Some claimed the ship could split planets, others swore it could silence suns. Whether true or not did not matter. What mattered was fear. For the first time in generations, the balance of power shook. Empires who had been confident for centuries now wondered, what if humans are more dangerous than we thought? What if they will not stop? The Dreadnought sailed onward, engines blazing like fire across the night. It was not just a machine, it was a warning, a promise, and a challenge to the galaxy. Humanity had awakened its giant, and the galaxy would never sleep again. Alien fear across the galaxy. Silence turned to whispers. The awakening of the human Dreadnought spread like fire through every star network, every council chamber, and every shadowy backroom where power was traded. The name Impact Imminent was spoken with both disbelief and dread. Aliens who had once mocked humanity now sat in fear. The elders remember. The oldest species remembered history better than anyone. They remembered wars from ages past. Wars where new, rising species had been crushed before they became dangerous. That was the rule of the galaxy. Strike early, before rivals grow strong. But humanity had broken that rule. Somehow, without notice, they had reached a level that should have taken millennia. An elder council met in a hollow asteroid, its walls glowing with ancient light. The members spoke slowly, their voices heavy with centuries of knowledge. Humans are reckless. One said, "They do not wait. They do not respect order," said another. "They have built a weapon no young species should build," a third whispered. Silence followed. Then the oldest of them all, its voice trembling like cracked stone, said, "They are not young anymore. They are something else." The chamber grew cold. Fear settled over them. The merchants panic. Not all who feared were soldiers. In the trading hubs, alien merchants argued loudly. The Dreadnought was not only a military threat, it was an economic one. "If humans can build something so large, so powerful," shouted a scaled merchant with trembling claws, "what will they demand of us next? Higher trade rights? Access to core markets? What if they decide they don't need us anymore?" Another slammed the table. "Do you not see? This is not about trade, this is survival. If humans can erase a battleship in one shot, what can they do to a station like this? To a city? To a world?" Markets shook. Ships rerouted. Even neutral traders began to avoid human space. Fear, after all, spreads faster than light. The soldiers whisper on the far edges of alien empires. Patrol fleets sat in tense silence. Soldiers, who once laughed about fragile humans, now whispered to each other in dark mess halls. One officer, staring at a cracked glass, said softly, "I saw the recordings. That ship, it fired once. Just once. And a battleship was gone. Not destroyed. Gone. Like it was never there." Another answered, If they can do that to one ship, what can they do to a fleet? The whispers grew heavier. Fear spread not because of numbers, but because of uncertainty. No one truly knew the Dreadnought's limits. Maybe it could destroy fleets. Maybe it could burn planets. No soldier wanted to be the one to find out. The spies were sent into human space. They returned shaken, their reports filled with confusion and terror. They are not hiding it, one spy wrote. They want us to see. They want us to know it exists. Another reported, the humans walk their dreadnought with pride. They call it a shield. They call it a sword. I think they mean it. The strangest reports came from those who listened to the human crew. Unlike alien navies where fear and obedience ruled, the humans spoke to each other with strange humor. Even during combat drills, they argued, they joked. Yet when an order came, they moved as one. They are not like us, the spies admitted. They are something new, something dangerous. The great debate in the galactic conclave, representatives from 100 species gathered. Voices rose, echoing through the hall. We must destroy it now before it grows stronger, one delegate screamed. Fool, do you want another war of extinction? Humans will not go quietly, another shouted back. The room boiled with fear. Some wanted to strike fast, to crush humanity before their power spread. Others warned of disaster. They reminded the conclave of small wars humans had already fought, how they turned hopeless battles into victories, how they never surrendered, how they always adapted. They are like fire, said one delegate. Stamp them out, and they burn brighter. Smother them, and they spread through cracks. You cannot control fire, you can only fear it. The room fell silent at those words. The shadow of fear across the galaxy, in every empire, the same question was whispered. What do the humans want? Were they building the Dreadnought to defend themselves? Or was it a sign that they planned conquest? No, one knew. And fear always grows in the unknown. In the shadows of alien palaces, leaders sat awake at night. They stared at the stars and wondered, if the Dreadnought came to their world, could anything stop it? If humans truly wanted war, who could stand against them? Some prepared fleets. Some prepared treaties. All prepared for change. Humanity's silence. Meanwhile, humanity said nothing. The Dreadnought moved slowly through human space, like a predator that did not need to roar. Its silence was louder than any threat. The galaxy waited, tense, every empire holding its breath. Would humanity use their weapon? Would they strike first? Or would they let the Dreadnought speak for them without firing another shot? No one knew. And in that not knowing, fear became greater than war itself. The galaxy had laughed at humanity once. Now, it trembled. And this was only the beginning. The first encounter. The Dreadnought moved through the black like a silent mountain. Its engines glowed faint blue, its hull shining against distant stars. It did not rush, it did not hide. It moved with the slow confidence of something that had nothing to fear, but others feared. On the edge of human space, an alien fleet waited. 30 ships, cruisers, frigates, and one massive flagship that dwarfed the rest. They had been sent by their empire to make a statement. Humanity would not be allowed to rise unchecked. From the bridge of the alien flagship, Commander Threx watched the human Dreadnought appear on his screens. He felt his throat tighten. Even at this distance, the size of the ship filled the display. It was like watching a planet move. Unacceptable, Threx muttered. They must be stopped here. His officers looked less certain. The silence of the Dreadnought was unsettling. It gave no signal, no greeting, no warning. It simply came closer. The warnings. The alien fleet sent their first transmission. Human vessel. You have entered restricted space. Power down your engines and prepare to be boarded. Refuse, and you will be fired upon. On the human bridge, Captain Elias Vey stood with his hands clasped behind his back. His officers waited for his order. The message echoed through the ship. Response, Captain? His comms officer asked. Vey's voice was calm. None. The alien fleet waited. No reply came. The Dreadnought moved forward, slow and steady. The second warning came sharper, louder. Human vessel, this is your last chance. Stop or be destroyed. Still, the Dreadnought gave no reply. The first Strike Commander Threx's patience snapped. Fire, he ordered. The alien fleet unleashed its weapons. Beams of plasma cut through space. Torpedoes streaked like fireflies. Explosions bloomed against the hull of the Dreadnought. But when the light faded, the human ship still moved forward. Its armor was scarred but unbroken. It did not even slow. On his bridge, Threx felt sweat drip down his brow. Impossible, he whispered. That was a full barrage. The Dreadnought remained silent. The reply at last, Captain Vey gave his order. His voice was cold, steady. Target their flagship. One cannon on the Dreadnought's side rotated. Slowly. Almost lazily. The ship seemed to take its time, as if choosing which target to erase. Then the cannon fired. A beam of white light burst forward, brighter than a sun. It struck the alien flagship. For one instant, the ship glowed with impossible brightness. Then, it was gone. Not broken, not shattered. Gone. Silence fell across both fleets. On the alien screens, the flagship's marker vanished. No wreckage, no signal, only dust and fading light. The crew of the Dreadnought said nothing. They simply watched their weapon cool. The panic Commander Threx's officers froze. Some screamed. Some dropped their instruments. The fleet that had arrived proud and certain was now paralyzed by fear. One frigate turned and fled, engines burning as fast as they could. Another sent desperate signals begging for mercy. Others sat frozen, too afraid to move. On the human bridge, Captain Vey finally spoke. Transmit. The comms officer nodded and opened the channel. This is the human Dreadnought impact imminent. Vey's voice rolled across the void. Leave now, or you will not leave at all. Every alien ship heard the message. No one doubted it. The retreat one by one, the alien ships turned and fled. Their formation shattered. Their pride was gone. In only one strike, humanity had proven the impossible. That one ship could face a fleet and win. Commander Threx sat in his chair, his claws digging into the arms. He wanted to stay, to fight, to prove his empire strong. But when he looked at the void where his flagship had been, his courage drained away. He gave the order his ancestors would have called cowardice. Retreat. The alien fleet vanished into faster-than-light drives, scattering like prey before a predator. The aftermath, the Dreadnought did not chase. It did not boast. It continued its path in silence, moving deeper into space. The crew remained calm, as if nothing unusual had happened. To them, it was simple. A threat had been made, and a threat had been answered. But across the galaxy, the story spread like lightning. One shot. One ship erased. A fleet broken. The message carried more weight than 1,000 battles. Humanity had not only survived, they had declared themselves untouchable. Theo, fear deepens. In the days that followed, alien leaders met in panic. Some demanded immediate war before humans built more dreadnoughts. Others refused, pointing out what had just happened. If one ship can erase a fleet, one leader said, what happens when they build 2, or 10, or 100? The galaxy had no answer. And so, the Dreadnought sailed on, its silence louder than war drums. Wherever it went, fear followed. Because now the galaxy knew. The Dreadnought was not a myth. It was not a rumor. It was real. And its impact was only beginning. Humanity's message the galaxy was not quiet anymore. It buzzed with fear, rumor, and questions. The destruction of an alien flagship with a single shot had broken the balance of power. For the first time in centuries, no one knew who was safe and who was not. Everywhere, across trading hubs, border, stations, and palace halls, one name was whispered: Impact imminent. The broadcast on. The bridge of the Dreadnought, Captain Elias Vey stood with his officers. The silence after the first battle still hung heavy. Some expected the captain to order more strikes to send the Dreadnought deeper into alien space, to show the galaxy what human power could truly do. But Vey had other plans. "Open all channels," he ordered. The comms officer hesitated. "All channels, Captain?" "All of them," Vey repeated. His voice was calm, but his eyes were sharp. Across thousands of systems, screens flickered. On alien warships, in market halls, in council chambers, in pirate dens, everywhere, the same image appeared. A human face lit by the cold glow of the Dreadnought's bridge. "This is Captain Elias Vey of the human Dreadnought Impact Imminent," he said, his voice carried with no music, no threat, only certainty. "We are not prey. We are not servants. We are not weak. We are humanity, and we will not kneel." The reactions in a mining station orbiting a red dwarf, workers froze as the broadcast played. Some dropped their tools, some whispered in awe. None dared speak loudly. In a royal palace of an ancient empire, the rulers sat stiff, claws curling into their thrones. The humans' words echoed through the grand chamber like a challenge. On smuggler ships and mercenary fleets, captains laughed nervously. "Did you hear them? They're not asking for peace. They're telling the galaxy to choose." Everywhere, fear mixed with respect. The humans had not begged. They had not threatened. They had simply declared themselves equals to all who ruled. The stars, the power of simplicity. The message was short, but its simplicity gave it power. Most alien speeches were wrapped in riddles and politics, layered with threats hidden in polite words. But humans did not speak that way. Their words were direct, brutal, honest. One alien scholar said, "They are dangerous because they do not waste words. They mean what they say. And what they said is this: they will not bow." The division, not all aliens reacted the same. Some were terrified and begged their leaders to sign peace with humans immediately. Others demanded war, shouting that to do nothing was to surrender the galaxy to humanity. In one council, a warlord slammed his fist onto the table. "We cannot allow this species to stand as equals. If we do, they will rise above us all." But another counselor, her voice heavy with fear, replied, "And if we try to crush them? What if that ship is only the first? What if they have more?" The warlord had no answer. The spreading flame. The human message became more than words. It became a story. And stories travel faster than fleets. Merchants told it in hushed voices. The humans built a ship so large it carries cities inside it. Soldiers whispered it as warnings. The humans erased a flagship with one shot. Rebels and oppressed species spoke it with hope. The humans say they will not kneel. Maybe we don't have to kneel either. The galaxy began to change, not from human weapons, but from human words. Humanity stands still. Meanwhile, the Dreadnought did not move to conquer. It did not fire on cities or burn colonies. It simply traveled through human space, calm and steady. Its silence was deliberate. On the bridge, Captain Vey understood the power of waiting. "Let them wonder," he told his officers. "Let them fear. A single strike tells them we can. Silence tells them we will, if forced." His crew nodded. They understood. The Dreadnought was not just a weapon. It was theater. Every move it made, every silence it held, was part of the message. The whisper of rebellion far across the stars, in empires where weak species served under harsh rulers, small sparks began to light. If humans could rise, why not others? If humans could say no, why couldn't they? A quiet rebellion stirred, not yet visible, but felt like a shifting wind. And in secret chambers, alien rulers realized that humanity had done something far more dangerous than build a ship. They had given hope to the hopeless. The fear of tomorrow, no empire slept peacefully. Leaders imagined the Dreadnought at their borders, its cannons aimed at their homeworlds. They dreamed of its silence, its single voice declaring humanity's strength. Fear was no longer about what humans had done. Fear was about what they might do next. Would they build more dreadnoughts? Would they march across the stars? Or would they wait, silent, until the galaxy broke itself apart in fear of them? No one knew. The last line. In a hidden corner of the galaxy, an alien elder looked at the stars and whispered to herself, "The humans have sent their message. Not to us alone, but to all creation. They do not ask for war, they do not ask for peace, they ask for recognition. And they will take it, if denied." Her hands trembled as she spoke the final truth. The galaxy has changed, and it will never return to silence again. The final test, the galaxy could not ignore humanity anymore. The dreadnought silence, its one terrible strike, and its message had shaken every empire. For weeks, alien leaders argued in endless circles. Fear spread, but so did anger. Some demanded surrender, others demanded war. In the end, pride made the choice for them. The galaxy would test humanity. The alliance on a barren moon orbiting a dying star. Representatives from dozens of species gathered. Their languages clashed in the air, but their goal was the same. They would form an alliance fleet, a coalition strong enough to crush even humanity's new monster. "We cannot let them rise," hissed one scaled commander. "They will consume us all," croaked another. "They must learn their place," growled a third. But not everyone agreed. A few voices warned of danger. "You do not understand humans," one diplomat said. "When cornered, they fight harder. When threatened, they adapt. If we push too far, we may unleash something worse than the dreadnought." The warning was ignored. Pride was louder than wisdom, and so the largest fleet in centuries was formed. Hundreds of ships drawn from rival empires who had hated each other for ages now stood together with one purpose: destroy Impact Imminent. The human response news of the alliance reached Earth. Politicians, generals, and citizens alike listened. Intense silence. Some panicked, others called for surrender. But in the military chambers of the United Terran Fleet, the decision was already made. "We will not run," said Admiral Corrin, his voice steady. "The dreadnought was built for this. Let them come. Let them see." On the bridge of Impact, Imminent Captain Elias Vey prepared his crew. He did not speak of glory or revenge. His words were simple, sharp as a blade. "They are coming. Hundreds of ships. They think they can break us. They are wrong. We do not fight for conquest. We fight for survival. And survival means we hold this line." The crew stood silent, then answered with one word. "Aye, Captain." The gathering. Storm. The two sides approached each other near the edge of a dead system. A sunless place where light was weak and shadows ruled. Perfect ground for war. The dreadnought emerged first, its massive frame lighting the void like a floating continent of steel. Alone, it faced the darkness. Then the Alliance fleet arrived. One ship, then 10, then 100. More and more until the stars themselves seemed drowned in warships. On alien bridges, officers smirked. "Look at them," one said. "One ship against all of us. This will be quick." But none truly believed their own words. The first exchange, the Alliance opened fire first. A storm of beams, missiles, and torpedoes filled the void. Explosions painted the darkness white and red. For long moments, the dreadnought vanished under the storm. On human screens, alarms blared. The ship shook under the assault, but the armor held. Layer after layer absorbed the storm. Systems flickered but stayed alive. Shields stable, an officer reported. Armor intact. Captain Vey's voice was steady. "Return fire." The dreadnought's cannons awoke. One by one they fired. Each shot did not simply destroy, it erased. A cruiser turned to ash. A battleship split in half. A carrier exploded, its fighters scattering like sparks in a wind. The Alliance roared in, anger and fear. They pressed harder, sending waves of ships to swarm the dreadnought. The strain inside the dreadnought, the crew worked without pause. Engineers rushed to repair damaged sections. Pilots launched fighters to hold off swarms. Medics carried the wounded from smoking corridors. Every man and woman aboard knew the truth. This was survival. No one else would come to save them. If they fell, humanity would fall with them. The Dreadnought groaned under the weight of battle, but it did not break. The turning point, after hours of combat, wreckage filled the void. Hundreds of ships burned. The Dreadnought's hull was scarred, its systems strained, but still it stood. On the Alliance flagship, commanders argued. "We are losing too many, this is madness," one shouted. Another slammed his fist. "If we retreat now, humanity will rule the stars." They prepared one final assault, every ship charging at once, to drown the Dreadnought in fire. On the human bridge, Captain Vey gave his last order of the battle. His voice was calm, but his eyes burned. All power to the main gun. The Dreadnought's core roared, shaking the ship. Energy built like a growing star. The cannon aimed, not at one ship, but at the heart of the fleet. Then it fired. The silence. After. The beam tore through the void, blinding in its brilliance. It passed through ship after ship, slicing them apart as if they were paper. Explosions chained across the battlefield. Screams filled alien comms, then vanished into static. When the light faded, silence ruled. Where hundreds of ships had stood, only wreckage remained, drifting like ash after a fire. The Dreadnought floated scarred, smoking, but alive. On the alien side, a few surviving ships fled without orders, terrified, broken. The Great Alliance had failed. The test past Captain Vey stood on his bridge, quiet. His crew looked at him, waiting for a speech for celebration, but he only gave a single nod. "They tested us," he said softly, "and we endured." Across the galaxy, news spread faster than light. The Alliance was broken. The Dreadnought had survived the greatest fleet assembled in living memory. To some, it was horror. To others, it was inspiration. But to all, it was truth. Humanity had passed the final test, and the galaxy would never be the same. Impact imminent. The battlefield was quiet now. Wreckage drifted through the void, glowing with dying fires. Fragments of once proud alien warships tumbled silently, their crews gone, their empires shamed. At the center of it all, battered and scarred but still alive, floated the human Dreadnought. Impact imminent. Its armor was scorched, its hull dented, entire sections cracked from the fury of battle. Yet its lights still glowed, its engines still burned. Its heart still beat. Humanity had endured. The aftermath on the bridge, Captain Elias Vey stood in silence. Around him, the crew sat exhausted, bandaged, and weary. They had fought for hours against the greatest armada the galaxy had seen in centuries. And they had won. Not because the Dreadnought was invincible. It was not. They had felt the pain of every blow, seen comrades fall, and watched parts of their ship nearly fail. But through skill, sacrifice, and sheer human stubbornness, they had survived, and survival in this war was victory. The galaxy reacts across the stars, the news spread. The mighty Alliance fleet was broken, hundreds of ships destroyed. Empires that had stood proud were humbled in a single battle. Some called it the day humanity became unstoppable. Others called it the day the galaxy changed forever. On trading stations, merchants whispered, "One ship defeated hundreds, if they build more." On border worlds, soldiers muttered, "We cannot face them again, not like this." And in palaces of ancient rulers, leaders sat pale and silent, realizing that humanity could no longer be dismissed, mocked, or contained. The Dreadnought had not only destroyed ships, it had destroyed illusions. The message repeated, once more. Captain Vey ordered the comms opened to all frequencies. The crew held their breath. They knew this speech would echo across history. The captain's voice was low, steady, unshaken. "You tested us," he said. "You gathered your fleets, your weapons, your pride. You came to break us. But we still stand. Humanity stands." He paused, his words heavy in the silence of space. "We will not kneel. We will not beg. We will not run. We are not prey. We are equals. And if you strike at us again, remember this battle. Remember what it cost you. The message ended. No more words were needed. The birth of a legend across alien space. The Dreadnought's name became legend. Children whispered it as a ghost story. Soldiers cursed it in fear. Rebels praised it as a symbol of hope. Some called it the Giant of Steel. Others named it the ship that should not exist. But to most it was simply impact imminent, a reminder that humanity had changed the galaxy with one ship, one battle, and one message. The legend grew larger than the truth. Some said the Dreadnought could split planets. Others swore it could silence suns. The reality was already terrifying enough, but myths made it eternal. Humanity's choice back on Earth, leaders faced a decision. With the galaxy trembling, they could demand surrender from weaker empires, take new territories, and expand through conquest. Many expected them to, but the humans did something unexpected. They did nothing. The Dreadnought did not march on alien worlds. It did not conquer. It did not enslave. Instead, it returned to human space, guarding its people, standing as a wall between Earth and all who might threaten it. This restraint confused the galaxy more than the battle had. Why would a species with such power choose not to dominate? Why would they simply stand and wait? The answer was simple. Humanity fought to live, not to rule. The fear and the hope. This choice divided the galaxy. Some empires, trembling with fear, prepared for the day humanity might change its mind. They built fleets, armed colonies, and waited for the inevitable human expansion. Others saw something else. They saw hope. If humans with such power chose not to enslave or destroy, maybe the galaxy could change. Maybe old chains could be broken. Maybe no empire had the right to kneel before another anymore. The Dreadnought had shown them fear, but it had also shown them freedom. The final silence on. The bridge of impact imminent, Captain Vey stood alone at the viewport. The stars stretched before him, endless and cold. The galaxy was vast, full of enemies, allies, and unknown dangers. His ship bore the scars of the greatest battle in human history, but it lived. His crew lived. His people lived, and that was enough. The Dreadnought's name had never been a promise of conquest. It was a warning, a shield, a declaration that if danger came, humanity would meet it head-on. Impact was imminent for anyone who dared threaten their survival. The closing line, the galaxy never forgot that day. They never forgot the silence of the Dreadnought, the single shot that erased a fleet, the message that echoed across the stars. From that day forward, whenever alien tongues spoke of humanity, they spoke with both fear and respect. And always they whispered the name of the ship that had changed everything. Impact imminent.